Well, I think it's pretty obvious with this cow. She has got something seriously wrong with that right rear foot. Let's get her in the chute, try to figure out what her problem is. Welcome back to Nate the Hoof Guy. Now, at first glance, doesn't appear to be anything too seriously wrong, at least from the outside. But as we pick this foot up, it becomes plainly obvious. Right near that toe, we've got some drainage, so that's where we're going to start. Let's get this foot trimmed up and see what we got. Now, this medial claw, it's got some good shape to it. However, this lateral claw has got low heels and a thicker toe. Now that is a telltale sign of necrosis. You can see here we've got some redness that will start to show up as I trim around in that typical sole ulcer site. That too is from her putting too much weight toward that heel in an effort to try to get the weight off of that toe. You see, as we start to trim this away, this problem is going to become plainly obvious. Here we can see that toe section all packed full of gunk. As we start to trim this away, you're going to see it's a cavernous area up inside that. One of the questions I get all the time is do those things have a smell to them? And this, of all things, has a very distinct smell to it. Honestly, I can smell it right now editing this footage. It's very pungent, and it's just something that, I don't know, it's a smell that you can't get out of your nose when you smell it. Give you a quick glimpse of this before we get it all flushed out. We're just starting to see the extent of this problem. So what exactly is toe necrosis? Well, necrosis by definition is cell death, meaning those cells on the inside of that claw are starting to die, and that decomposition is what we're seeing as far as the effects here in that toe area. This another term for this is called toe tip necrosis in cattle, and it's theorized that some type of injury happens from the outside, some type of insult that starts this process off. I think what we're going to find over time is that that is not what's actually happening here. I think of this as actually an internal problem. Some type of trauma is causing the blood flow to be interrupted or stopped to the tip of the pedal bone on the inside of that claw. Then that necrosis starts to happen from the inside out. That's my theory. That's what seems to be evident as we work on these. It doesn't seem like it's an exterior thing. It seems like this is all originating on the inside. Later on, it can become infected with digital dermatitis as well. But for the most part, this looks to be a lot of internal type problem here, not so much from the outside. So that's my theory on that. We'll see over time if that proves to be true. Even still, the way that we need to treat this, we need to remove all of this outer hoof material. You can see, if you look close to as we zoom in later on, that this hoof material isn't growing correctly. It's It's not a uniform layer. It's all jagged, and that tells me that that corium on the inside there isn't producing hoof horn like it's supposed to, and that's why we see these problems. But once again, we got to clean all of that hoof material free from this area, and we need to try to get this corium to heal over once again. The problem with these is that they're very hard to get all of that hoof horn removed and to be able to get it to heal back over again. That's why these are sometimes called non-healing lesions, because they're very difficult. It takes a long time to get these lesions or the hoof capsule itself to completely fill this in. What I'm pointing out here, I'm using a wooden block. That's for stability. When they have this type of problem near the toe, they have a tendency to want to rock back on the heel, and that causes trauma to that good claw. So what I'm doing here by the use of a wood block is to stabilize that claw, kind of forces her to walk in a normal pattern, so she's not wanting to rock back on that claw. And then we can try to get this area all free of loose horn so we can get it to heal up. We'll get a good look at this here as we get this cleaned out, and you can see how that hoof horn is just not growing correctly on the inside. Once again, the goal here is to try to remove all of these jagged edges, this irregular growth that you see right up against that corium. We want to try to remove all of that so we can get this flushed out and cleaned the best we can. That way we can treat that corium and try to get that to heal and to get this hoof capsule to cover completely over again. Once again, this necrosis problem, this is not a fixable problem. This is going to cause problems on the inside that are going to be there forever. Deformities to that pedal bone and changes in hoof growth from then on. What we're trying to do is just to get this to completely heal over, and then we can try to make her more comfortable in the process. Perfect hoof, we will not get again. Here you can see the corium, and we've removed as much of that loose horn material as we can around that. That's going to allow us to clean this the best that we possibly can and treat that with salicylic acid. Hopefully we can get this claw to completely encapsulate once again and make her as comfortable as we can. Now, because I am using a wood block in this case, I'm going to make some modifications to it. I'm going to actually add a little bit of a breakover point, a little step here in this claw. What it's going to do is allow her, when she puts that foot down and tries to take a step, it's going to allow a little bit of a ledge there so she can take that step a little more easily. I'm going to add a little bit of an angle there. Once she puts that down, she can take that step. It's going to be more comfortable. I want that block for stability, but I also want to make it as comfortable as I can for $28.49. You see, as she leaves, she's walking much better now than she was, which is a good thing, because at the beginning, she didn't want to put any weight on that foot whatsoever. We'll keep checking in on her and see how she does over time. But until then, as always, thanks for watching, and we will see you all on the next one.